What's up? Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. My name is Leila and today I am back with my favorite books of the year video, or in other words, all the books I read in 2021. Last year I read a book per month, so 12 books overall, and I was pretty proud of myself. And I was like, you know what, next year I can do better. And I put this goal of reading 21 books in 2021 because I was like 21 in 2021, you know? And I really didn't count how many I read, but I don't think I read that many. I don't even know if I read as many as last year. I really think this year I had way more reading slumps, and I think it's due to choosing books that I wasn't even gravitated towards, and that's something I want to change in my next year's book shopping tendencies. So a lot of times I just buy books that I've heard that, you know, you should read and people talk about, but I wasn't even like interested in the storyline. I feel like, I don't know, maybe I'm just making it up right now, but I just like to explain myself this way. Like, this is why I didn't read as much, not because I was a bad reader this year, but because books were not my type of books this year. Honestly, I know not a lot of people are gonna watch this video because my channel is not about books at all. It's all about fashion, style, lookbooks, but I just wanted to film it for myself to keep track of what I read this year. And I don't know how many of you guys are into booktube, book talk, bookstagram, but I love those, you know. I love those accounts that talk about books on all platforms. And even though my channel, I'll never be one of those channels because I don't think I read that much to have a whole YouTube channel to talk about books. But I still would like to make this video, even if it's a bit different than my regular videos and it's not my niche. I just want to do it for myself, and I don't know how many of you would want to watch this video, and it's okay. You know what, it's fine. There will be other style and lookbook videos in the future, so if you're not into books, it's fine. But this video is just for fellow bookworms and those of you who are looking for some books to read. So let's get straight into it. Let me share with you my books of 2021. I'm actually sitting next to my book corner in our new apartment. It's not all of my books, trust me. Due to all the movings throughout my life, a lot of my books are in different countries, pretty much. So this is what we have right now, my current book collection. I definitely want to have more, but this is what we have now, and some of these books are gonna be in today's video. So without further ado, let's begin and let's start talking about the books that I read this year. Okay, so here are all the books I read this year. I counted, and you guys, it's only 10 books, and actually like 3 of them I haven't finished. So I feel so bad right now. Like, the fact that I wanted to read 21 and at the end of the day I read even less than last year. I am disappointed, but I really wanted to film this video nonetheless to, you know, acknowledge that some years are better than others in some regard, and it's okay, you know. And at the end of the day, I still read these books. You know what, I'm not gonna let that get in my head and like make me feel bad for reading only 10 books this year, you know. Although I do feel bad, and like I wish I could go back in time and like read more, but that's what we have next year for. I hope that next year I'm gonna read more books and I'll have more to share next year, you know. But this is what we have this year, and without further ado, let's just begin. And first book that I want to talk about is this one that basically is the reason why I was going through my reading slump this year, pretty much, I don't know, throughout 6 months of 2021. So it's Women Who Run with the Wolves by Clarissa, Pinkola, Estes. And this book is amazing. It's basically about, you know, divine feminine, about being a woman. It has all these fairy tales and myths that kind of Clarissa, Pinkola, Estes, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. She gives you this fairy tale I think I just spit. She gives you this fairy tale and then kind of explains what it actually means, how we can use that for ourselves. It's a very powerful book, and this is why I think you shouldn't push. Like when you read it, like take your time. Read something on the side, because that's what I wasn't doing, and I was discouraged when I would get like stuck because it was a lot to process, and I didn't want to go back into it because, you know, it's like this psychological, spiritual awakening moment for me, and I would just stop reading. So I wish I didn't do that. I wish I had on the side some, you know, book that has nothing to do with like learning and changing yourself and acknowledging your pain and trauma and healing, you know. I wish I had something else on the side, and then this book I think would go so much smoother. And I think I learned from this book that it's okay to put a book away and start another one, because I didn't do that. I just felt bad if I would start another book. I felt like I was haunted by this one because I didn't finish it. So I basically read it for 6 months, and I tried to read other books, but because I was stuck with this one, I couldn't like really move on. And at the end of the day, I finished this book, and I'm happy that I did, and there's so much I learned from it, but I just really blame it for me not reading more books this year, to be honest. But it's all good. Really love it. 5 out of 5. I recommend this book to every woman out there. I really think this is something that every girl, woman, no matter her age, country, you know, sexuality, whatever, like no matter who you are, if you identify as a woman, if you are looking for ways to connect with your inner feminine side, this book is for you. Some wine, because you know we're coming close to New Year, gotta like celebrate. Okay, so next book I read in 2021. I don't remember actually if I started this year with this one or that one. I just remember that I was kind of like reading them both at some point. So I think I probably started this one after that one, or maybe before. Don't remember. Anyways, so this is Virginia Woolf's A Room of One's Own. So this is her essay that's very feministic and very empowering for women, and I do think every woman should read this, especially if you like to write. She kind of like, there's this phrase that became this quote, and it says, "A woman must have money and a room of her own if she is to write." This book really talks a lot about, basically it's an essay, it's a very short book. This essay talks about all the historical you know, reasons why there are not as many female writers, well, back then especially, you know. And I really don't remember that well everything because it was almost a year ago, but I just remember how I felt empowered and how it was another way of awakening myself. It's not like I'm oblivious to what it's like to be a woman and how hard it has always been for us, but when you read such a powerful statement about being a woman, life of a woman, and all that comes with it, you really feel empowered. And this book made me want to read more feministic books, which I haven't done actually, and I think 2022 should be all about that actually, now that I think about it. So yet another 5 out of 5. Okay, I think next book that I started reading was Dostoevsky and his brothers Karamazov. So I'm reading it in Russian because you guys know I speak Russian, so obviously I read it in the original. So I don't know, like, what is the English name of this book? Like, you know, I think Brothers Karamazov. I might be wrong, I don't know. So I am stuck with this one. I'm on the page 208 out of like I think 600 or 830. So this is how much I read, and this is how much I have left, and I can't. I left this book. I might come back next year. I might come back at some point. I definitely will come back at some point. I just don't know if I will next year or the year after or in 5 years. I don't know. I feel like I'm reading and I'm not getting to the plot twist, to anything. I'm just like getting to know all these characters, and it's a lot of like, you know, unnecessary stuff that I don't really care about. And I really liked Crime and Punishment much more as of now. Like with 200 pages in, I think I liked Crime and Punishment more. But then yet again, I was supposed to read Crime and Punishment in, like, was it during my last year of high school, and I didn't because I wasn't into it. So the same way, sorry, that's my phone. So the same way, I don't know if with this one, maybe in 5 years I'll be there, because with Crime and Punishment, it took me about 5 years to get into it, and it's all good. I can't give it anything yet because I haven't finished it, but this is another reason why I was going through a reading slump in the beginning of the year. Sometime in the summer or the end of spring, I started actually reading. I feel like I started slowly moving away from the books that I was stuck with, like Women Who Run with the Wolves and Dostoevsky, and I got these two books. I really don't remember which one I read first, so let's just start with this one. Audre Lorde, The Master's Tools Will Never Dismantle the Master's House. Remember how I said Virginia Woolf's book was the last feministic read I had this year? Actually, I lied to you because I forgot that this also happened. And yet again, this one is another short essay, but it was so powerful. You know, it's like it is a whole ass book for me, not because of how small or big it is, but because of what it has in it. And after this book, I was like, I have to read more of Audre Lorde, and I still haven't, and I'm gonna, you know what, 2022 Leila is gonna do that. I will order some books from Book Depository, and I will take it more seriously this year, I feel like, because at the end of 2022 I actually got into reading, so now I'm on that like reading high, if that's the phrase. I'm on that reading high, and I just want to read more, and I'm just like ready to order more stuff. And I think also to read according to my mood. Right now I kind of feel low and maybe depressed, I don't know. And people are like, oh my god, I really couldn't tell, like you're wearing makeup, you're like talking, making videos, and it's like, I'm sorry, I'm not dead. Like, I hate when people say that just because you don't show how much you're in pain. Like, they're like, you seem fine to me. Like, I just hate that. I'm not feeling that good these days, and that's why I want to read some books that talk about being depressed. I have a few in my mind, so I think I'm gonna go for it and order them, you know. I didn't tell you guys what it is about. It's like about basically white feminism being a problem. You know, I spoke about it in my last year's favorites video, where I spoke about why I'm no longer talking to white people about race. And I feel like this book is like maybe the beginning of that one, you know, because obviously this one is older than why I'm no longer talking to white people about race. So it was just great to continue learning about white feminism phenomenon and why we all must work on it and try to dismantle all these societal rules that make our lives miserable, you know. Audre Lorde, The Master's Tools Will Never Dismantle the Master's House, get 5 out of 5 from me as well, because chef's kiss. Okay, next one is Carl Jung, Synchronicity. This book I wanted to read for a while because the concept of synchronicity I was obsessed with ever since I learned about it, because I always believe in, you know, the destiny, everything is meant to be, like nothing is just a coincidence, you know. So this book has been on my reading list for a while, and I'm really glad I finally went for it. I did not regret it. It was a very interesting read, and I don't think it's for everyone. I do think if you believe in the law of attraction, that things happen for a reason, and there's a bigger plan behind every little change in your life. And if you believe in astrology, which I actually don't believe in astrology, but he talks here a lot about like astrology actually explaining why some people end up together, why with some people it doesn't work out between them, you know. It's a lot about relationships actually. And Carl Jung is a well-known famous psychotherapist. He was friends with Freud, so you probably have heard about him even if you're not into psychology and all that. So I recommend this book, but only if you are looking at the world with your open eyes and you have some sort of like spiritual way of seeing things, you know. So I think if you are too much of realist, probably this will be just a bunch of nothing for you. But at the same time, I think I recommend it to everyone. Nonetheless, doesn't matter what your beliefs are. I think this book is great, and even if you won't like it, at least you will understand the concept of synchronicity, something that I actually believe heavily in. Yeah, so I love this. Okay, so last 5 books are the books that I started and read and currently I'm reading in September. So I feel like fall and the beginning of winter were very great for me reading wise, and I feel like Donna Tartt's The Secret History really did something to me that it just like made me want to read more. I read this book in like 1 month and it's like so huge, and I'm really scared of big books. What I realized, like, I just feel like it's a commitment, and like if I don't like a book, I just have this like whole ass block of a book to finish and I can't, and then I feel like I can't do it, and then I get into a reading slump. Like, you see the pattern. So I was really scared to start this one because I was like, what if it's gonna be like Dostoevsky and Women Who Run with Wolves? At that point I was down with Women Who Run with the Wolves. This book didn't do that. I could not stop reading it. It was just doing something to me. I actually filmed Dark Academia lookbook because of reading this book. Like, that's how much it influenced me, and I just felt like I was there with those characters. And I know some people have, like, you know, mixed feelings about the characters and the story, but also a lot of people are big fans. I really love this book. I wouldn't say I'm like a big fan of the whole like storyline. I don't know, like I just love this book. It's not like I'm gonna reread it or I'm like obsessed with those characters or I just think it's the best book I've ever read. No, honestly no, but it's really good. Like, I really enjoyed it, and that's when I realized I should read more books that I'm genuinely like excited about. You know what I mean? Like, maybe sometimes listen to what BookTube and Bookstagram and Book Talk is recommending, because I'm just like always going for these like unusual book choices, something that is not very popular, you know, something that not a lot of people are reading. I think I'm a bit of a snob when it comes to books, so this book taught me that I shouldn't be like that. I should be more keen on reading different types of books and genres, and that's the only way to figure out what I'm into. Look how big it is, and I read it in 1 month, so you guys shouldn't be that disappointed in me because I think I did good. So yeah, I feel like I want to give this book 5 out of 5 just because, you know, it helped me feel like I can read again, because like I'm telling you, the beginning of 2021 I was like, I can't read. Like, I don't know how I read 12 books last year. This year is definitely not happening, and I was not wrong. But like, this book, if I started my year with this one, I think things would have been much more happier. Simultaneously, as I started reading Donna Tartt's The Secret History, I also started reading Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. This book also, like, I feel like this was a perfect read for the month of September/October. This book I would only have in my bag, so every time I would go out, I would get on the tram or metro and I would just read it while commuting. Usually it takes me like about 10-20 minutes, you know, to get somewhere, whether I'm meeting up with friends or whatever errands I have to run. I decided to just always have this book with me so that I won't forget it, and I only read it when I would be commuting basically, and I finished it just like that. And then at some point, you know, the story got so interesting I had to just like pull it out of my bag and just read it at home because I had to know how it ends. And it's such a beautiful story, and I really feel like the perfect timing as well. Like, maybe if I read it in the summer I wouldn't be that much into it, but I feel like in the fall it was just like perfect choice. It's a well-known story about Frankenstein creating his monster and how that went, and I gotta say I expected it to be different than what it was because of, I don't know, you kind of have an idea when you hear about, like, you know, Frankenstein, you kind of have an idea, but you don't know what it's really about, you know, because also pop culture like created like different image of the monster, you know, and you don't really know what happens to the monster. So I didn't want to check beforehand, so up until the end I had no idea what is going to happen to the monster, to Frankenstein. Are they going to become friends, or what is going to happen? And the ending just blew my mind. I don't know, it was really great. 5 out of 5 yet again. And then I started reading Little Women by by Louisa May Alcott, and I know this is American classic, and a lot of you guys probably read it at school because a lot of you are from the US. This one, for some reason, I'm not enjoying. I'm on the page 80, and I started but continue reading it like recently. But I started like probably in November, and then I would stop, and then I would be again in the reading slump because I was really not into this book. And so I instead bought like this book, and I think it took me 1 week or a week and a half to finish it. I just could not put it away. When I had like about 130 pages left, I was like, okay, I'm gonna just read like 30 and go to sleep. I stayed up till 7 a.m. trying to finish this book, okay? So this is The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides, I don't know. He is a Greek writer who used to be a screenwriter, and I actually can tell because when I was reading this book I really felt like I was watching a movie. Like, I don't know, I just could imagine this being a movie so well, and I feel like they will actually make a movie. When I was trying to find any information about it, like I saw that they started filming it or something. Like, I don't know, I still cannot figure it out, but I think it's gonna become a movie, and I definitely can see that happening because this book was just made to be made into a movie. Like, you know, when you read something you're just like, yeah, definitely can see a movie based on this. Such a great story. I wouldn't say yet again it's like my favorite book or anything like that, but as a thriller it really keeps you thrilled and interested in the story, and you want to know more, and you want to know who killed her husband. By the way, what the story is about is that this patient, she stops speaking, she kills her husband, and the psychotherapist, he's like very intrigued by her, and he wants to help her, and he wants to know her, and he wants to make her speak. So he joins this hospital where she's at, and he's trying to make her speak. I don't think it's possible in real life, the whole story, so it's like you just know when you read it, like, you know, it's just a story, you know what I mean? Like, they're basically 3 stories at the same time intertwined. So there's this patient's name is Alicia, so there's her diary, there is the story of psychotherapist, his personal life with his wife, and then basically him treating Alicia. And these 3 stories really entertain you, you know, you're like always like jumping from one scene to another, and a lot is going on in both, not even both, but all 3 worlds. So that keeps you interested, intrigued, and I honestly could not see the ending coming. Like, I was blown away. It just came out of nowhere. But then I also, like, kind of closer to the end, I was like, oh my god, is this what is happening? And then I was right. That's exactly what happened, but it was only close to the end, so I don't even think that counts as like I predicted, because usually I'm pretty good with cracking these type of murders, but not this one. This one I could not see coming. So 4 out of 5, just because the book was great. It's just like, it's like a one-timer, you know, it's like not something that I think is that amazing. I don't know, I really enjoyed the book, but you know, I just feel like yeah, I shouldn't feel bad. You know what, just 4 out of 5, it's good enough, and I shouldn't feel bad for giving 4 out of 5. I'm adding books behind me, so if you see a pile of books, don't be surprised. And that leaves me with the two books that I'm reading currently. So I am reading Brave New World by Huxley, and it is so much like 1984. I mean, storylines are completely different, but then there's something that you just like think of 1984 when you read this one. But I think with 1984 I was much more depressed reading it. Like, it just felt so much worse, like the world that he was living in. This one makes you curious. I also think 1984 is more of a book that makes you think of the past, and as someone who was born in a post-Soviet country, like knowing that Soviet world from my parents' memories and like living after, you know, it was dissolved, it just made me feel like 1984 wasn't about the future, it was about the Soviet Union, which was the present back when he wrote that, George Orwell. But right now it's like the past, you know. So when I read that, I really felt like I was reading like historical fiction rather than dystopian novel or whatever. With this one, I actually feel like this is the future. Like, I feel like we are almost there. This feels more like what we are thriving towards, and all this like happiness, we're all happy, no one is ever sad bullshit, you know, like you hear so many times from so many like wellness influencers or whatever. And I'm only on the page 66, so I have like this much left. I don't know, I think I can go through it pretty much very soon. I just really need to sit down and like finish this book. It really goes very easy, very interesting, and I wish I finished it already so I could tell you, oh look, I finished it, but I am still reading. But trust me, I'm close to finishing it. So love it. And it also leaves me with Little Women. Like I said, I'm on the page 80, so I'm like trying to read a chapter per day. And then like I read a chapter and then I don't read it for like 2 months, you know. So I'm only on the chapter 5, and I don't care about characters here at all. Like, I need to push myself to read it, and I feel like I should stop doing that. Like, if it's not happening, it's not happening. But I just feel so guilty if I can't finish a book, you know. I feel like, oh my god, I'm like lazy and whatever. But then I look at Silent Patient and Dark History, Secret History, The Secret History, and I'm like, girl, when you're into a book, you will finish it. I feel like when it's nighttime and I have this book on my side table, bed table, whatever, and sometimes I just hesitate picking it up because I'm like, I really don't care how they're doing. So I just like end up being on YouTube before going to sleep instead of reading a book, because I'm like, I'm more interested in this video that I'm watching right now than in the story in this book, which really sucks, because it's a classic and I usually like classics. But I think that's something that I want to change in 2022. Read more of contemporary writers, because those books that I binged are my contemporaries, okay? So that sums up my video. I shared with you my 10 books of 2021. And as I said, you know, I was like, oh, who cares? Like, my channel is not about books. I wasn't sure if I should even film it, and I didn't even read that many books. But you know what? This is another part of my life, my love for books. And sometimes I'm slower, sometimes I'm faster, and it's okay. Like, I just wanted to film it for all other people who are just like me, who read like a book per month. We're not like fucking Terminators when it comes to reading books, like 10 books per month. Who does that? Like, I applaud those people who read so many books per month, but I'm like, how do you guys do that? And I don't know, but I'm not competing with anyone. I'm just trying to have fun with my books and to be entertained. So I really start my 2022 with an open mind, and also with clean conscience. Like, I did my best in 2021. Anyways, I will see you guys in my next video, and that's gonna be our last video of 2021. So I'm not saying goodbye just yet, because I'll see you in a few days. But you know, I'm already celebrating. And I hope that 2022 will be amazing for all of us, reading wise and everything else wise. Whatever you wish for will come true. And thank you guys so much for your support this year and for being with me by my side and supporting me and everything. But as I said, it's not the end of 2021 on this channel, so I'll see you guys in a few days, and that's when we're gonna say our goodbyes for 2021. For now, I'm just saying goodbye for this video. If this video was helpful, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, click that bell to get notified by my new videos, and share with me your books that you read this year that you loved. I loved all of them, as you can tell. Like, pretty much everything was 5 out of 5. So those that were not 5 out of 5, I haven't finished. So yeah. I love you guys. We'll see you in the next video. Bye!